going on, don't we? Yeah, this got some people fired up. And I think it's doing some very, very necessary work for us. One of the first kind of questions I want to kind of ponder to everybody, and then we'll get into it. I got all sorts of news, a lot going on. But let me ask you this. What if the media's plan was to try to divide the Republican Party and the independents? Because let's admit, there's a lot of people that have come to this side of make America great again. Not necessarily Republicans, not necessarily independents, but right. But let's say the media wanted to try to separate us. And so the way they would go about doing that is starting a bunch of rumors, and you'd use certain content creators and you'd use certain mainstream media outlets, but you'd essentially push a message out that says these two guys are competing against each other. Now, what does that do? That divides our party, doesn't it? Gives the deep state a chance to continue fighting. Now, what would be one of the best ways to counter that? Attack the guy that the deep states got you, quote, paired up against. Take it straight to him. Run at him. Let DeSantis know, hey, here comes the storm. You cool with that? DeSantis knowing full well how this is going to play out, knowing full well where he sits in the pecking order. And again, we've got some speculation from other people that I think kind of backs up this play. But I basically think this is being done to out everybody else. Got some information to suggest that. Also got, like I said, everything else. So let's hop into it. I also have a song I'm going to be playing, a friend of the station, or a friend of the channel, I should say. And we're going to feature his song and give their Give, Send, Go information because they are trying to do a good thing. And I love what they're trying to do. And like I said, they're literally a friend of the channel. I know who they are, and I've worked with one of their brethren, and so I want to help out. And I also want to wish a happy Veterans Day to everybody. It's 11/11, which is also a very significant day and number in and of itself. And so that's something to keep in mind. And also for all of you leaders out there, I'd like to consider myself one of them, but you know, we're all having our moments from time to time. But I thought about quitting, but then I noticed who was watching. All right, got the little munchkin down there. Happy Veterans Day. God bless America. God bless you. God bless us all. Now let's get into it. Are you saying we were high, Carrie Lake? Oh my God, I can't believe you're saying that. Wendy Rogers. I haven't heard much from her lately, but boy, oh boy, you know she's excited to see Carrie Lake come into play, isn't she? She says, I've been appointed as chair of the Arizona Senate's election committee. Arizona will now get its house in order with Governor Carrie Lake to ratify election integrity bills via special sessions come January 2023. Can you feel it almost? I know. I'm like you guys. I'll believe it when I see it, but I'm getting chills even talking about it right now. We, I think, might have finally pulled off a major move. And the deep state's really worried about it. We've got them covered from a lot of angles. Obviously, the election thing looks like we might have pulled it off. The Twitter thing is driving them insane. They're losing it badly. Elon Musk talks about, as Twitter pursues the goal of elevating citizen journalism, media elite will try everything to stop that from happening. Mainstream media will still thrive, but increased competition from citizens will cause them to be more accurate as their oligopoly on information is disrupted. And it's not just the oligopoly that they have, it's the deep state mouthpiece. That's what MSM is, the propaganda arm of the deep state. And that is destroyed. Nobody trusts mainstream media, and now they've lost Twitter. Yeah, they've still got Facebook. Yeah, they still got YouTube, but both of those have more or less been replaced with other platforms that are gaining popularity. Rumble is just rising hugely. And Gab, I guess, is probably the Facebook competition, but I wouldn't say it's even a fair competition yet, but whatever. So media elites are going to try everything to stop citizen journalism. They fear an awakened population that thinks for themselves. They fear we the people unplugged from their media matrix, and it is happening. Pandora's box has been opened, and there's no going back. Can't put the genie back in the bottle, right? We are all the news now, and I certainly wear that hat with pride, right? I wouldn't necessarily call myself a journalist, but I'm a news guy, right? I used to do radio, so it's kind of more fitting for me to be the newscaster. I'm Dan so-and-so, right? Or whatever. Who's Zolosophy. Dr. Z's got a funny little nickname for me. Anyway, I forget what it is. French President Emmanuel Macron calls for an online age verification to protect minors. Now, on the surface, that sounds like a great idea. But when you think about it for half a second, you realize, how could that possibly work? What sort of ID do you give minors? What kind of ID does a 12-year-old have? Or are you now saying they've got to give their social security number, right? Like now they can brand ads towards them. Now they know exactly who you are at what age. And again, if you're a groomer, don't you want to know who the children are? How would you make sure you can verify someone's age? Are you over 18? Yes. But you're 12. I know, but they don't know that. How does that work? It doesn't, right? Am I the only one that's like, that? Because I know there's a lot of people like, yes, we should do that. We got to stop pedophiles. Yeah, for sure. Pedophiles are wrong. Horrible, in fact. But how do you verify a minor's age? I don't know. I don't know how that happens without really giving personal information. It almost seems worse, doesn't it? And again, Emmanuel Macron's asking for it. Trying to put some pressure on Twitter. Yes, one. Two, he's definitely deep state. Who else is deep state? Germany. Germany wants more scrutiny of Twitter after Elon Musk's takeover. Germany. See, they thought they could finagle him. I think that works. They thought they could go after him from different countries and say, hey, if you don't censor people, then you can't be in our country. And then he's like, all right, I won't be in your country. What else can you do? What's he going to censor everything? Because then he loses the platform. That destroys the whole point of why he bought it. Is he going to let 3 countries, I think Poland might do this too, is he going to let 3 countries decide what the rest of the world experiences? Well, maybe China too, right? There's a few of them. I don't think he will. But maybe. He's in a tough place right now. So Twitter's partisan fact check of Jesse, God bless America. Yoel Roth, the far-left Twitter censorship czar, has resigned. It's the guy everybody hated. He's a guy that definitely hated people on the right, no question about it. There's all sorts of examples of it, right? I mean, I don't need to play them all. Fact is, he stepped down. It's kind of interesting. And when you couple it with all the other things that are going on right now, kind of makes you wonder. Like maybe Musk found out everything he needed, gave him a sweet deal, said you can step down, I'll pay you a severance or what. I mean, I don't know. I don't know how that worked. Musk says Twitter bankruptcy is possible as the FTC expresses deep concern. Twitter's boss Elon Musk told employees at a recent all-hands meeting that the company is losing so much money that bankruptcy is not out of the question. Think about that for half a second. You immediately buy a company and then immediately go into bankruptcy protection because it is so jacked up financially. All the stuff that wasn't properly expressed to the SEC maybe wasn't properly shown. The books weren't properly being worked. I mean, of course, we've had a massive drop in revenue from advertisers backing away. All right, well, some of that is poo-pooing the advertisers, and I actually do hope that Musk goes, full Monty. I don't even know. He tells everybody what the hell what advertisers they are. Let us know which advertisers are boycotting you, sir, and we'll show them how we feel about it. And I'd love it if he did that, because that's one way to fight fire, right? With fire. So they've got a lot going on. Obviously, they want to get the money for the check marks and all that stuff. Great. Good. So we'll see. They haven't made any money since 2019. They've seen a massive drop off in revenue, according to Musk, as advertisers step back in their spending campaigns. He also suggested during the meeting, again, the $8 per month for the blue subscription checkbox thingy. Or doohickey, if you want to be correct about it. Twitter brings back official checkmark. The official checkmark. So to combat impersonation, we've added an official label to some accounts. Twitter support department wrote in a tweet. 2 days earlier, the same account said that Twitter would not be bringing the label back, but would be aggressively going after impersonations and deception. The gray check marks show up on some accounts on Wednesday, with Twitter product executive Easter Crawford explaining that they would be used to distinguish major public accounts like those belonging to commercial companies, business partners, and major media outlets, and some public figures, from paid subscribers who received the blue checkmark previously reserved for major names. However, Twitter owner and CEO Elon Musk announced shortly afterwards that he killed the feature and that the blue check marks would be the great leveler. And he also said he's going to be trying some stuff, maybe stupid, and if it doesn't work, he's going to get rid of it. And if it does work, he's going to keep it. And they're just going to be trying some stuff because, well, they're trying to figure out how to get Twitter back where it needs to be. Kherson remains part of Russia, despite the fact that the Kremlin withdrew. They pulled back. I'm sure they left a bunch of weapons or something, I hope. But they pulled back because forces need to be used elsewhere. But they're reminding the Ukraine, hey, no, this is still Russia's territory. They voted for that. That's what's up. Don't care what you think. Thank you. Now you keep talking about us, moving back. Now, I would assume if Ukraine starts shelling Kherson, then I'm sure the Kremlin will attack back. Now, something interesting that's happening with this whole Russian oil price cap. They wanted to put a cap on the oil price that's on these ships. Well, something funny happens when you've got these giant ships with a whole bunch of cargo that something could happen. Well, you need a thing called insurance. And there's a big problem with the insurers right now. They're demanding to get clarity on how this works, when the price is changed, what are they actually insured for? Are they insured for the higher amount, the lower amount? What are they insured for? And is this going to cause problems for people getting insurance going forward? Because it's technically worth more than they're going to get. There's a lot of strange little problems that are coming up. Insurance companies are kind of always, them and bookies are the ones that you can almost always trust are telling you the truth of what's really happening or looking at the data. Because insurance companies never want to pay any money, and the bookies don't ever want to lose. So usually they're very accurate, a lot better than typical polls we hear about from our lamestream media. U.S. is blocking millions in solar imports over China's slave labor concerns with the Uyghurs. This is interesting because we're hitting China right now in a few different ways. Top U.S. general warns China that conflict over Taiwan will be a bad choice. This douchehole, General Mark Milley, is who's saying this. So I'm not sure, because he's deep state, no question, right? Unquestionably. Are they just trying to poke the bear? Is that what they're doing, or whatever, the dragon? I don't know what the hell I guess probably the dragon would be a better analogy, because the bear, I think, is Russia, right? But China would make a really bad choice if it chooses to engage in conflict over Taiwan, Milley said. Speaking at an economic club of New Yorkers, or New York event, who cares? We are committed through the Taiwan Relations Act that the U.S. will continue to support Taiwan, and we will. They also said that we would, it's really hard, and I think they're coming to realize that, and they're probably evaluating the situation and recalculating what they might do. He basically says we're going to give them global support, we're going to give them weapons support, we're going to help Taiwan out if you guys attack. Straight up telling them. We got 3 that have been arrested for sending military secrets to China, selling Chinese items to the Department of Defense. 3 people were arrested this week for their alleged involvement in a scheme to sell U.S. military secrets to China and to secretly bring Chinese goods into the U.S. defense supply chain. Phil Pascoe, Monica Pascoe, I'm betting they were married, and Scott Tubbs and Quadrant Magnetics LLC were charged with wire fraud, violations of the Arms Export Control Act, and smuggling of goods, according to a November 9th statement by the Justice Department. We'll see what happens, but boy, oh boy, it sure does seem like the deep state's not as in charge of things as one would think. Like they're losing control or something. Sometimes things just have a way of working themselves out, I guess. That's probably just coincidence, right? I'm sure it is. Sure it is. CPI missed Sparks, the 3rd biggest short squeeze ever. It's kind of a trip, actually. This raised the price of gold like $100. A lot. I didn't actually see it yesterday. I didn't even share it yesterday. But they did. They lowered the CPI. It was a little lower than it was supposed to be. It looks like inflation's maybe at least kind of getting under control, which is great news. Stock markets, nothing exciting to admit about today. They're a little positive. Yesterday was a huge-ass day. But I guess the dollar slid a little bit yesterday. And look at this. Gold's at $17.69. It was at like $16.60 like 2 days ago. It went up a bunch. Which is funny because DRSlikesgold.com. Still not 1800. 1860 is what I paid, by the way, which it could be tomorrow. Frick, who knows? But drslikesgold.com, drslikesgold.com. You got a bunch of money tied up in the stock market? Well, you probably got some of those losses back.